Most fans thought Mallory Gully was that sure-of-herself redhead on Street Outlaws Memphis who dropped her arms, counted cash, and held her own in a world full of fast cars and even faster talk. But behind that calm smile was a true driver who chased excitement with some of the biggest names in the South. Her car, the Ugly Duckling, and her bold energy made her stand out in a scene where men were the majority. After a short time, she was gone, leaving behind nothing but quiet. What did really happen? There is a lot more to Mallory's sudden absence than anyone thought. It has to do with lawsuits, family trouble, and mysterious posts on social media. And the truth could hurt more than just feelings. Mallory Gully is much more than just the money girl label that people give her. There's no doubt that she gave runners money on TV, but that's not all. She's been racing behind the scenes her whole life and comes from a family that loves cars. She was born in Jonesboro, Arkansas on March 9, 1996, and grew up in a close-knit family. She and her sister Natalie were raised by their parents, Carrie Gully and Kenneth Gully. Because of Kenneth, the name Gully may sound like a name you already know. Kenneth Gully, her dad, was famous long before Mallory ever raced. He is the owner of Gully Garage, a company that makes cars and sells them. Kenneth is a businessman, but he's also been crazy about cars his whole life. He raced for almost 25 years, always looking for speed and making some of the fastest cars on the track. Bounty Hunter, a 2003 Chevy S10, was one of his most famous cars. It wasn't by chance that Mallory became interested in racing. For as long as she could remember, she went to the tracks with her dad and learned all about the culture. Because Kenneth was close with J.J. DeBoss, Mallory quickly became well known in the racing world as well. After that, she went to Arkansas State University just like her sister Natalie had done. But racing was always a part of her life, no matter where it took her. Since she grew up in a home where cars were more than just a way to get around, she was always going to be interested in the loud engines and the thrill of the track. Gully bail bonds and keg towing are run by her family, and she stays very involved with the family business. She became really interested in racing when she was with her dad and watched street races. They spent a lot of time together at races, especially ones with legendary street racer J.J. DeBoss. This made her want to join the action right away. She learned everything from how to build a car to how to drive one like she owned the road. I knew she wasn't just there to watch. When she finally got behind the wheel herself, she was skilled, focused, and really fired up to race. People used to see her standing outside and giving out prizes, but those times are long gone. It's now her turn to be the center of attention as she drives her favorite car, a bright purple 1964 Chevrolet called the Ugly Duckling. This is a great name for Mallory because she has gone from being a spectator to a powerful driver, just like the story. Even though cars have always been a part of her life, she's still learning how to rule the track. But there's no doubt that she's determined. She gives a lot of credit to Chelsea Day, another brave female driver, for sparking that fire in her. Mallory looks up to her, and they are close in more ways than just racing. They push each other to do better. For Mallory, everything changed when she got a job on Street Outlaws Memphis. But that show did more than just give her TV time. It let her show the world what she could do. She was no longer someone's daughter or friend at the track. She was now a racer in her own right, making her own way and showing she's here to stay. The game Street Outlaws Memphis is a spin-off of the hugely popular Street Outlaws series. This time, the game goes deep into the rough-and-tumble street racing culture of Memphis. It all began when Pilgrim Media Group, the people who make the Discovery Channel show Street Outlaws, called J.J. DeBoss about making a show about him and his Memphis crew. J.J. didn't really feel it at first. CEO Sam Caucus asked J.J. what it would take to get him on board, and J.J. told him the truth. He didn't want to be a part of something that seemed fake or planned. But JJ, being JJ, set the rules. He told them that he might be interested if they were willing to film things the way they happened, with no direction or cut scenes, just real street action with cameras rolling. Sam said yes, and that's how things have been ever since. The things that people see on Street Outlaws Memphis aren't polished or staged. They're real, raw, and unexpected. People in Memphis bring more than just fast cars to the streets. They bring a different kind of excitement. Their style comes from history and has a lot of grit to it. JJ and his crew are back for another season, and the other teams are stronger than ever. People from Detroit, Texas, and pretty much everywhere else in the country are going to test Memphis. For JJ, though, it's always been Memphis versus the world. JJ follows an old-fashioned set of rules as head of the Memphis Outlaws. There are no fancy lights or mechanical signs to get it going. He just drops his arms, and it's off. If you're following, he thinks it's a race. Don't think too much about the beginning or slow-motion repeats. And he says that street runners didn't have cams or other tech to watch every move back then. In the race, they used what they had and their cars to fix things instead of getting into fights. In Memphis, racing is more than just a sport. It's a family tradition. 5 generations of racers are going with JJ. His wife Tricia, his son Doughboy, and his niece Precious. Of course, they don't just race for glory. They race for money, honor, and something deeper than money. But they know what's at risk every time they line up. If you make one mistake, you could lose everything. While the track is safe, the streets are full of things you don't know. Everything can go wrong, JJ says. It could be evening dew, a dusty surface, or even someone else messing with the starting line. There isn't a safety crew outside. You might die if you mess up. That's why the bond between a driver and their car is so important. You should get to know your car as well as you know yourself, says JJ. Things will always be different on different streets, and you won't have a chance if you're not in line with your machine. But street racing is dangerous for more than just the roads. It's also dangerous because of the people who do it. Bets can quickly turn into nasty fights. Things can get out of hand with just one mistake. So, respect for each other and guidance are very important. JJ has seen how quickly things can go badly when no one steps in to take charge. There are a million ways to make money and kill someone in his world. Things won't go wrong if everyone stays cool and works together. The Memphis Outlaws' secret tool is that kind of loyalty. These racers aren't just thrown together. Family, whether they are related by blood or not, these bonds are strong because of years of trust and shared experiences. They can handle the confusion of the street because they are close. They will always look out for each other. JJ says this is how they stay alive. He was born into this life and never got to choose it. All of his uncles and grandfathers raced cars on the street. It's more than just a hobby. It's a custom that has been passed down from years to years. They keep that custom living with every race, bet, and fight on the street. Where I live, street racing is not just a way of life, it's a family. Mallory first showed up in 2018. She was just 22 years old at the time, and people called her the Money Girl because she was in charge of JJ's cash bets during the races. She wasn't just standing there with the money, though. Behind the scenes, she was also very important. She helped plan the races and made sure everything went smoothly. She was a strong member of the team from the start, and it didn't take long for people to figure out she wasn't just there to look good. Mallory liked to drive a lot. The only way she got there was by beating some tough competitors in the streets. When she joined, though, things quickly went crazy. In September 2018, a case was made public that named her dad, Kenneth Gully, and JJ DeBoss. The lawsuit was sent to the Discovery Channel by Jenny Larkin and her partner Chad. They say they were abused while shooting the show. They said Kenneth and someone else, whom they called the bounty hunter, chased after Chad, starting punching him, and finally threw him to the ground. Chad said that as soon as he hit the ground, he felt a sharp pain go through his leg like something had torn. He said that once he was down, the blows kept coming, fists to the face and kicks to the ribs. He really thought they were out to kill him. The claim also said that the camera crew didn't do anything during this time. They just kept recording. Someone in charge even told a cameraman to get closer to get a better shot. When Jenny tried to help, things got even worse. The lawsuit says that a member of the Memphis Street Outlaws team grabbed her by the back of the head and pulled her down by her hair, hurting her physically and mentally. Discovery Channel didn't say much about any of it in public, but things were just beginning even after all that trouble. When season 3 began, there were a mix of new names and ones that fans had seen before. Kenneth Gully was back behind the wheel for the first time since that terrible accident in his S10 Bounty Hunter. This was one of the biggest upsets. His daughter Mallory thought it was her time to shine, though, which was the real twist. With Precious, JJ, and the rest of the Memphis crew behind her, she jumped into Zippy and learned how to race on the streets of Memphis the right way. Fast, dirty, and unapologetically brave. Huge amounts of money were at stake, and people were placing crazy bets on every race. It felt like any race could change everything. The things that J.J. DeBoss and his family knew how to do were raw street skills, local hustle, and reckless grit. They had to deal with big-tired speed freaks leaving Ohio and rough back roads in West Virginia. Then there was Detroit, which brought the noise and the attitude. For their part, the Memphis Outlaws were focused on getting the win in the style of Memphis. The heat had been turned up all the way by season 4. They were going up against some of the best street drivers in the country. It wasn't just about pride. It was also about staying alive, leaving a legacy, and making a lot of money. It was all or nothing for JJ and his team. They were betting big and racing even harder. They knew that each race could either break them or make them the champions. They rode with heart, though, and risked everything for that top spot, win or lose. Mallory, who was now running under the name Molly, wasn't just following along anymore. In a brand new car she called the Ugly Duckling, she was risking everything. A tough Kentucky team beat her in her first real street race. Even though she had only competed in one arm drop run before, she was ready to lead Memphis and make her people happy. Strong people helped her along the way. There was a new breed of drivers, especially women, who were ready to show they had what it takes, and J.J. DeBoss was their leader. And Mallory's dad, Kenneth, might not race cars full-time anymore, but she had a lot of faith in him because he knew a lot about cars and had been in a lot of races. This season, a new family member stepped up, Chelsea, Doughboy's wife. She got dressed up, got behind the wheel, and showed that racing was in her blood because she was tired of just watching. It was no longer just about Memphis either. There were new racers like Travis Harvey, who was known as Carolina Kid on the streets. They were eager to show something. He brought a whole team from Virginia to stir things up and make a fuss. Some well-known names were also showing up again: Ronnie Pace with his Texas team, Chris Block with North Carolina, and Quinn from Kentucky, who was still trying to win that long-running battle with JJ. Every race, from newcomers to seasoned pros, was a risk, and every bet came with a reward. One thing didn't change, though. J.J. DeBoss and the Memphis Street Outlaws were still in. They were after money and living the good life the only way they knew how, which was the Memphis way. But what happened next would shock fans and make them want to know more. Many people were shocked when Mallory Gully didn't show up for season 5 of Street Outlaws Memphis on TV. She was one of the most interesting people on the show because she was sure of herself behind the wheel and on the MSO team. So when she disappeared without giving a reason, her fans were confused and began to ask questions. It's been a question since then. Fan comments on her Instagram page are full of people who want to know when or if she'll be back. Some people even wrote her a sweet note under a holiday picture asking if she'd come back and saying they missed seeing her drive the Ugly Duck. Mallory never answered, though. Not a single rejection or confirmation, just silence. The network hasn't said anything, given any information or anything else. Plus, Mallory hasn't said anything about it on social media either. It felt even stranger when there was quiet. We do know that Mallory seemed to be focusing more on her personal life around the time she left the show. On social media, she posted about spending time with her family and having a calmer life. She used to be seeing a guy named Zach King in the year 2020. They showed off happy pictures from games and trips. But recently, all but a few of those pictures have disappeared, and Zach's Instagram no longer shows her at all. That part of the story may be over. Mallory did something else when the cameras stopped rolling on her race. She worked with an artist from Glamorization named Hope Gabriella to make her house look better. She now calls it her bachelorette pad. Hope even put pictures of the new living room on Facebook, where Mallory loved seeing the cozy personal space. She spoke out in other areas when she wasn't at home. Mallory has a clear idea of what she thinks about politics. She kept showing her support for Donald Trump by going to events even after the 2020 election, with the most recent one being in June 2022. She works with her dad at the family business Gully Bail Bonds when she's not at the beach or a gathering. Sister at Gully Bail Bonds, Mallory works as a bail bond agent and helps people get out of jail by paying their bail when they can't. The business even has a YouTube page with cheap bounty hunter videos that look and feel a lot like fake cops episodes. The video is a little hard to watch, and it seems to have the same energy she used in an Instagram video with the words God, guns, and Trump next to a figure of Trump. The same thing can be seen if you quickly scroll through her Facebook page. She has written support for controversial ideas like the idea that Brittany Griner should be in a Russian jail, and a few pieces of content that lean toward conspiracy theories. Mallory is mostly working on her family's businesses these days. Toe Keg and Keg Motorsports are also in Gully Bail Bonds. You can still see her on Street Outlaws and hear about her earnings. Over the years, she has also won a number of races. It's still not clear if she'll come back to the show. There have been no new things or changes. Fans are still holding out hope that she will bring the Ugly Duck back to the streets one day.